Hi, Nurse Lala here with MedSearch Nursing LLC. I want you to be successful in your nursing career, and I want you to be just as knowledgeable as I am. So I've decided I'm giving back to the next generation of nurses. I'm providing you with access to my professional development courses for free. That's right, absolutely free, but only for a limited time. Nurses, nursing students, don't miss out on this wonderful opportunity to help build your resume. Visit medsearchnursingllc.teachable.com to enroll today.
All right. Hey, this is Barry Coleman again on another episode of Understanding the Nursing Game podcast. I got a very, very, very special guest in the building with me today. And guess what? It's time for the quote of today. Let's go to it. If you have people hanging around you that are bringing you down, you have to learn to push those people to the side. I'm gonna read it again. If you have people hanging around you that are bringing you down, you have to learn to push those people to the side. That's by Michelle Obama. Man, that was a good one.
I think that is so true.
That's right. That's right. So, hey, you know what? I'm going to go ahead and introduce our special guest. I'm going to mess up her name. So I'm going to allow her to tell everybody your name.
Hey, what's up, everybody? My name is Kaylana, aka Nurse Kaylana on YouTube. So that's Kaylana, or just K for short.
All right, so I'm calling you Miss K. I'm not even gonna try.
Hey, that works.
Miss K, there it is.
Mm-hmm.
So you heard that quote.
Mm-hmm.
What you thought about that quote?
I think it's so true because for like different reasons. You are the company you keep, and like who you have around you is a reflection of you from like a distance type thing. People don't really know that you are any different than the people you keep around you. And then if you're trying to achieve goals and whatnot, then I mean, somebody who's trying to hold you back one way or the other is not going to do anything but hinder you. So I think you need to lighten your load and keep pushing. And it's much easier if you're not carrying baggage with you.
I'm saying, dang. All right. and guess what? I have learned the hard way. Mm-hmm. Baggage come in many forms and fashion.
This is true.
Yeah, your loved ones sometimes.
Yeah, family. It be your own.
Yeah. So we're gonna go ahead and get this interview started. I'm glad you was able to find time out of your busy schedule. And tell everybody where you're from.
So I'm out of Orlando right now. I will be moving soon to go to school, but I am originally from Virginia.
Oh, what part of Virginia?
I was born in Norfolk.
Norfolk. Okay. All right.
Yep. So I still have family throughout Virginia, Portsmouth, Virginia Beach, up to Arlington and whatnot. I have to say that I didn't grow up there, but I go back, every so often.
Okay. All right then. So my best question of all time is, what got you into nursing?
So I originally went to school thinking that I was going to be a plastic surgeon. And then I realized once I got into school, I went to UCF and signed up to be a biology major. And the biology teacher said, look to the left, look to the right. One of you is not going to be here by the end of semester. That scared me. And then I had some life changes. I had my son later that year and, whatnot, and realized that I don't really like being in school. It's not so much learning new things, but just being in school is not my favorite way to spend my time. So I decided that being a surgeon, 12 plus years of further school after high school wasn't my thing. So I went and got a business degree, and I figured I'd live happily ever after. I just needed a full-time job. I just wanted to pay the bills, and then, I can do what I wanted after that. That's what we want when we leave our parents' house, right? Well, it was about 4 years after that I realized that I wasn't happy doing what I was doing. Sitting at a desk was not for me. So I decided to go back and, get my science classes that I need to apply to nursing school. Eventually, I applied to nursing school because I realized that I still loved medicine and I love helping people, and they kind of go together. So the rest is history.
Okay. Now, you said that you wanted to stay kind of close to medicine. Was there anyone that was kind of like the light for you, being wanting to become a nurse? Was it somebody that's in your family, or most times it's always an auntie in the background, or somebody,
Right.
or a friend that's around, a coworker that that became a nurse? Was it anybody in particular, or you just came up with it yourself?
So my grandmother was a nurse, but she was more into administration. So to be honest, I'm not one of those stories where I can say, I had an issue in a hospital and I admired the nurse that was taking care of me, and that's what led me to want to be a nurse. It's not like that. It is purely my love for helping people in their most vulnerable situations and the science of medicine and whatnot. And I just truly believe it was a calling for me. And I mean, it really had to, especially where we are these days. That's the only thing that keeps me doing what I'm doing, is that I truly cannot imagine doing anything else.
I agree with you, Mom. A lot of healthcare providers, Alberta, not just the nurses,
Yeah,
everybody, they are
everybody.
slap out. And not only your job is stressful, but life is stressful. It's like
Exactly.
you don't get a break. So I told her, if you don't love nursing now, man, it's gonna be hard for you to stay in.
Right. I always tell people, you cannot do this for the money. There are much easier, better ways to make money than nursing.
I totally agree with you. Now, hey, we're gonna say that. Do not do it for nursing. But if you can get paid, you better get paid.
That's for sure.
That's right. We're gonna keep we got hey, we ain't gonna miseducate them. We're gonna teach the young.
Right.
Yeah. So
Right.
you decided to go to nursing school,
Mm-hmm.
pretty much, you know, not without a science background.
Right.
So
Uh-huh.
when you was in nursing school, I'm sure there was some challenges that you had to encounter. So tell me the nursing school you went to, and then tell me just one or two of your issues that you might have had.
So I went to Seminole State College of Florida. So that's out of Orlando. And I did that because, like I mentioned before, I had gone to UCF for something else. And I wasn't trying to do, all the extra loans. And, I was already paying on loans that I had. And I know that we were coming out of a time where going to a 4-year university, meant something. And I'm not saying that it doesn't, but me at the time, going to a community college just fit better for my finances and where I was in life. So that's where I went. As far as challenges, also going back to what you were saying, as far as having life challenges and then challenges in nursing, I had gone through a breakup right before. When I say right before, I'm talking about like a month or two before nursing school started, which didn't help my focus, and just it made things very difficult for me. So on top of dealing with that, because that was kind of devastating, not to be all sad and stuff like that, but I mean, that's real life. Things happen.
That's right.
In nursing school, it's just a different way of thinking. It's a different culture. You start from like ground zero with kind of how things are going to be in your nursing career when you're dealing with your clinicals and your classmates and your professors and different things like that. So it was just healthcare is a different way of life. Like when I tell people some of the things that I've experienced at work, or not even having to do with patient care, but just, things that I've experienced, they can't even imagine that happening in their sector of whatever they do. So, like I said, I guess it was just getting acclimated and just changing the way I think, not only for what I was learning, but just how things were going to be.
Gotcha. All right. So my co-host Shawana Obi, she went the junior college route. She went to school, a 4-year school. I can't remember, college, Charleston, for 1 year, and then became pregnant and came back home. And she went to one of the local junior colleges, and now she's a nurse anesthetist. So just because you own the JUCO level, that don't mean nothing.
It doesn't. It
don't mean
doesn't.
nothing.
Sometimes it can be better. To be honest, so with my business degree, I have 2 minors. One of them is health sciences, which was a lot of the prerequisites for nursing. And I did speak to a guidance counselor at the 4-year university, just to kind of get a feel of, what makes this program different from a junior college. And she said her words were that junior colleges made better hands-on nurses because she felt that they offered more, hands-on or technical aspects of it, whereas the BSN is geared more towards, you're going to get the technical aspects of it, but BSNs are geared towards leadership and management. So they're both quality educations, and they can take you different paths, but don't look down on a junior college nurse just because they're a junior college nurse. It doesn't mean that they couldn't make it in the 4-year.
That's right. And then a lot of times I have found out the nurses that I have interviewed, they just because they got a junior college, what they call an ASN, just because you got that doesn't mean that the BSN nurse is any better. A lot of times it's some non-academic things going on that pushes or kind of like help people make a decision to go to the junior colleges.
Right.
They serve a great purpose. Even today, at the local junior colleges around my school, University of South Alabama, the best nursing school in America, they have a pipeline to where if you at one of the local junior colleges and they in the nursing program, if you get into the 4th or 5th semester, you can automatically be entered in to our nursing program to get your BSN. So you could pretty much have your associates, and then 1 or 2 semesters later, you can have your bachelor. So
Right.
a lot of 4-year schools are working hand in hand with the junior colleges. So it's nothing that can hold you back, to be honest, if you start off on the junior college level.
Right.
So
right.
another question, we're gonna try to pivot off of that. Let's go to your first job. Yes, your first job. Can you tell the people what was your first job, and then what were some of the things that you had to go through learning wise?
Okay. So I did not, and this is going to be interesting to recall as my story develops, depending on how this interview goes. But I did not want to work in a hospital. And also, you were saying that the 4-year colleges have programs where you can get your BSN after you start off as an ASN. I only applied to the ASN program, even though my school had a concurrent BSN program, because I just wanted to get my nursing degree. I wanted to get my job, work my 3 days a week, and call it a day. Okay. Remember that for how my story develops later on. Okay. So my first job right after I graduated, I got this job before I even sat for the NCLEX, was at an inpatient rehabilitation facility that had just opened up literally right across from my school. And the whole concept of this particular establishment is that the people who are in the hospital but aren't well enough or strong enough to go home, they usually come here, and you're there for like, I don't know, like an average 2 weeks maybe. The nurses are usually there just to medically manage the patients because you're doing literally like 8 hours of different types of therapy. And, we're just passing medications and monitoring, making sure that you're okay. So it's not unheard of for you to have like 7, 8 patients, and that's during the day. You can have more at night just because it's not intended that you have these patients who are so like high acuity, shall I say.
Right.
So the issue with the place that I started working at, it just opened right across the street from my school, is that they were new. And then eventually they started taking patients that they normally wouldn't take. So as a new grad, I was taking 9 patients during the day. Some of them had IVs. A lot of them were total care. Just basically, it wasn't a good situation. And it taught me a lot as a new grad. Prioritization, all kind of how to stick up for myself, how to advocate for my patients, all of that stuff I learned in a short period of time. And it was also taking a toll on my health. I am the type that when I am stressed, I think most people are. When you're stressed, you're more prone to getting sick and, you're just tired, all that stuff. So I was sick every 2 weeks and it just wasn't like me. So eventually, while I was there, I got a job in the OR.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So now I can take this a number of ways. What drove you to the OR? That's what I want.
I was thinking about this the other day. I can't remember when I first got the idea to go into the OR. I think it was probably because in nursing school, I wanted to be an aesthetic nurse. I wanted to work, with a plastic surgeon. And eventually I would go on to be an NP and do injections and Botox and all that other stuff. So I think that my thinking was if I got into the OR, then I would be one step closer to working with a plastic surgeon.
Okay. All right then. All right. So can you tell the people, I'm an OR nurse as well. Can you tell the people the environment within the OR? I'm gonna talk and then I'll let you explain. I know in the ORs that I work in, I'm a laid back guy and I just do whatever I feel. So, the environment that I create and hey, we in here to do a job to relax as much as possible, but we focus on the patient and keeping them safe.
Right.
All right. So, in my room, hey, we might be listening to some Snoop Dogg, some Tupac, or either I might throw on some Tom Petty. Just all depending on how I'm feeling for the day.
So you control the music.
Yeah, I control the music for the most part. I just most time I check out the doctor or whatever. I just see what kind of music they like, and I cater it to them. I throw a little Snowflake in there, and then I throw it over. I slide in some Snoop Dogg, something real slight, and then I switch it up. If I go a little ratchet, then I throw in some Tom Petty. Everything is cool. Ain't
So you
nobody.
gotta like ease them into it, and then
Yeah.
okay,
Yeah. It's kind of like the hungry kids you see on the school. You can't give them a no flaming steak. You got to give them some Jello, some sauce,
right.
some stomach. Yeah,
A little soft liquid diet or something.
there you go. Some slight like that. So you tell me, better yet, illustrate for the people listening in. How is the OR from your perspective?
So I think it really depends on your specialty. I think the higher the stress level, I don't even know how to describe it, but the stress level of your specialty determines a lot. So I started off in CVOR and I was eventually doing heart and lung transplants and all that stuff. And you can imagine that it is high stress.
Yes,
So, I learned a lot about life and, working as a nurse, working in CVOR as a new grad, about how to stick up for myself and advocate for my patients and all of that good stuff. I learned it hard and fast. And then after that, I went to vascular surgery in my hospital. They were separate. And that was better, still high stress. And I say high stress compared to like, I don't know. It just seems like the other specialties in the OR were a little bit more happy and carefree than we were. But as compared to like being in the ICU, like the OR is my first love. It's my home. That's where I grew up. So I mean, so going back to your original question, once they trust you, once they get to know you, it's all love. It's family. Yeah, you have your music. Once the patient is comfortable in sleep and whatnot and taken care of, it's always focusing on the patient. But it's just doing a project with your coworkers, and you're playing music, and sometimes the cases can go long. So I mean, it's like no other vibe that I've experienced in healthcare before.
I agree with you. I'm gonna say this. I think you touched on it, to be honest with you. Once they trust you, oh man, you almost, I ain't gonna say untouchable, but they can adjust to whatever. Once
You
they
get a lot of
trust
leeway.
you, yeah, you get a
Yeah.
lot of leeway. A lot.
Yeah.
That's the perfect word I would look for. And I think a lot of times you have let's go ahead and call it what it is. You have it's a lot of white surgeons.
Yes.
So
Yes.
they like people that they can trust more times than not. People that you can trust more times than not, they're gonna look like you.
Right.
So the nurse is going to look like the surgeons. It's not
Hmm.
necessarily anything racist. I think it's just a trust thing because in the OR it's more so a very stressful environment. You
Hmm.
need somebody, and everybody got to do their job. Whatever the
Right.
case is, everybody got to do their job, and you just want somebody that you can trust. Now, once you break that barrier and you kind of like you gain their trust, they know what to expect. Okay, now, hey, you can go ahead, you can start doing your thing.
Right.
So,
Right.
for those that's looking to get into a specialty, how did you get into the operating room? You just applied and got it, or was it some network?
So I think it's a combination. I first heard that. Let me back up. So my school had sent out an email that one of the nurse recruiters at the local hospital was looking for new grads who wanted to come to this fair that they were having. And I reached out to the recruiter because she didn't list the OR, but I explained that I was interested. So did she know of any positions that were coming available, or how would I get into that? So she put me in contact with the educator for general surgery, and they scheduled an observation day and an interview. That same interview, they brought down the educator from CVOR. So I had an interview with two educators, and interestingly enough, the CVOR educator offered me the position, and the general surgery one did not. And I was kind of bummed at the time. I mean, I really didn't know what I was getting myself into, but looking back, I mean, I'm glad that it worked out the way that it did. And I ended up working, vascular was classified under general surgery in that hospital anyway. So I ended up, coming in through the back door anyway. But yeah, that's basically how it worked out through my school. And then, I asked for what I wanted.
That's okay then. So, like I said, I work in the operating room. Like the CVOR nurses, they are a lot more stressed. It's a lot more serious mentality in their rooms. I have
Right.
actually worked in those rooms before,
Mhm.
so I understand what you're saying. You said you have a son.
Mhm.
Um, can you speak upon how do you handle your stresses through from your work life, and your home life? How do you balance the two, and what do you do for stress relief?
Um, I think I mean, well, I want to preface all of it by saying I think that I handled my stress the best way that I could, in that I left my day at work. When I came home, because my son was he was a teenager by the time I became a nurse, because this was my second career. So he was a little bit older and a little bit more understanding. But he understood that, I had a long day, because we had talks about this. I think communication is a big thing, that, when I come home, I might not want to have a whole lot of conversations right as soon as I get in the door. I need your help, and that sometimes I need you to cook dinner, or not just wait until I get home at 8 o'clock because I'm on call tonight, and, I need to try to get a nap in or something like that. So I say that I did the best that I could, and that, ideally, sometimes we don't want our kids to have to kind of compromise with us in that way. But I think that it also helped him be more mature and responsible as an adult now, living on his own and, different things like that. So, as far as your question was, what did I do for like stress relief type thing, right?
Right.
Worked out. Um, I would usually go anywhere from 3 to 4 days a week, usually choosing something that I enjoyed, relaxing. Sometimes doing nothing is all that I really need. Rest. Rest is huge for me, especially, working in the OR at the time when I was on call. My sleep schedule was hectic. I made a point to, make sure that I got days that I slept in, and things that I couldn't take care of myself, like, detailing my car or something like that. I should have someone else do. Just, I mean, I physically could, but I mean, it's not a good use of my time at that point. And just socializing with friends and family. I really like to go try new restaurants. I'm a huge foodie, so that goes hand in hand with working out, and just, traveling when I could, just different things like that.
Okay. All right. So I heard in your answer at the time I was working at the opera in the OR.
Uh-huh.
So would you like to tell people what you're doing now?
Well, before I get into what I'm doing now, I left the OR
Mhm.
because I had been in the OR for like 4 years, and I kind of get antsy when I'm not working on something. So I didn't want to scrub, and I didn't want to get into management. At that point in my life, just wasn't for me, even though my first degree has a focus in management. So I
Mhm.
decided that I would go to the ICU. So I went straight to the ICU from the OR, which is not something that a whole lot of people do for different reasons. Most of the time, my hospital had an internship program, which made it easier, but usually you have to have some type of floor experience to be able to go to the ICU. So they usually like you to start off in a step down, intermediate care, or PCU, progressive care unit, because not all the hospitals have that. And then they want you to be there for a year or two so you can get your prioritization and just basically know the flow of things before they take you on an ICU. Well, I went into an internship program directly out of the OR, and I had some challenges. I did more than one interview, because of politics and what have you. I was not offered the first job that I applied to, but I did eventually get in. And then I've been an an ICU nurse now for 3 years. The last year I was a traveling ICU nurse. And now I just started CRNA school.
Okay. All right then. Now that I know that, I'm going to put you in touch with a number of nurse anesthetists. My homegirl, Shawana, she's a nurse anesthetist. My other co-host, Miss Deborah, she's a nurse anesthetist.
Nice.
I had Dr. Alexis Robinson. She's a nurse anesthetist. So I'm gonna put you in touch with them and allow them to help guide you and give you some advice.
I would appreciate that.
Yeah, especially Dr. Alexis. I remember she shared her story, and she did travel nursing in LA for a time, probably about a
Okay.
year or so, saved up her money and went to UAB to get her nurse anesthetist license. So,
Nice.
I at the end of this call, I'll put you in touch with them, and we'll see what happens.
Thank
But
you.
yes, you gravitated from the OR. I'm gonna be honest with you, you've been privileged. You got a job straight out of nursing school, and then you went to the OR. Most nurses don't know how to make that happen.
Right.
From inpatient hands on to a specialty. Most nurses don't know how to do that, and then you went from the OR to the ICU.
Hmm.
That within itself is a challenge. So,
Hmm.
what's driving you to be a nurse anesthetist?
I didn't even know, honestly, I didn't even know what a nurse anesthetist was when I was in nursing school. Again, I just wanted my 3-day job, and I wanted to pay my bills and be done with it, right? So I really didn't have a lot of aspirations to be a whole lot more than a bedside nurse or working in the OR, or maybe if I did go back for an advanced degree, it was going to be a nurse practitioner so I can do the aesthetics like I mentioned before. But working in the OR, I had the opportunity to work with an amazing group of anesthesiologists and CRNAs. And they were always, people have their days and, stressful times, but I just feel like their personalities, they were always welcoming. I've had some anesthesiologists who were encouraging of me to continue my education, to be a CRNA. And at one point I was thinking, I don't think I could make it. I don't think I could do it. The ICU was very intimidating. I never wanted to be an ICU nurse. But looking back, like I love what I've learned being an ICU nurse. But I think I started really thinking about whether or not I could be a CRNA, or, why I wanted to be one, is working with the CRNAs and seeing what they do, and just going back to my love for science and challenges and being in the OR. I just feel like it was a natural progression.
Okay. All right then. So I know you did travel nursing. I got to touch on it because right now, let's just be honest, you hearing stupid numbers when it comes to travel nursing.
Yes.
Would you like to describe to people your experience at being a travel nurse before we try to get you off of here?
Including, the pay situation and
Hey,
whatnot.
whatever you want to share. I would love for you to share the pay. I want you to share the good and the bad. I try to keep things real on my show. A lot
Right.
of people try to be all politically correct. No, I cook,
Right.
I drink wine and I drink my crown. So people that listen in to my show, they do the same thing. So hey, we try to keep it real over here. Tell
Right.
everybody the good and the bad to travel nurse.
All right. So I decided to start traveling last year towards the end of COVID with Crucial. And if you don't know who Crucial is, Crucial was one of, if not the only company that was in New York at the time when COVID was at its worst.
Right.
I did not take advantage of it in the beginning because, we didn't know much about it. I was afraid. I'm a single mom and, I didn't want to risk, whatever this unknown disease was and, not come back home to my son. But at that time, it was rumored nurses were making $15,000 a week. Okay. But they were also literally risking their lives because, again, we didn't know how this thing was transmitted. There was issues over, PPE, and it was just really ugly. So by the time I got to it, it was towards the end of the first wave. So I started traveling February of last year, 2021, and my assignment was in Texas. That's when they were making 10,000 a week, if you can imagine. 10,000 a week. Now, it was, hard work. That's like 72 hours, but still every hour is much more than what most staff nurses are paid. So the rate then and now, it's like 125 an hour for an ICU nurse and 187.50 for overtime. And then they were also paying for where you were staying and transportation. And this was paid by the government just because, there was a shortage of nurses. Nurses were getting sick. A lot of people were getting sick more than they were equipped to take care of. So they just needed a lot of nurses fast. And this is how they did it. So fast forward, we've had several waves. We weren't always paid that well, but because of different things, politics within the nursing field, not even just having to do with COVID, but with working conditions, there's a shortage because people have retired, people are leaving the hospital, like I said, because of the conditions, and then we're like on our fifth wave of COVID, Omicron and whoever else wants to come after that. So I just finished my most recent contract with Favorite, paying the same amount for the same amount of hours. I probably only worked, I don't know, maybe 6 months. I haven't done the numbers yet. Maybe 6 months out of the year for 2021. And I have made well over $100,000.
Thank you. Thank you.
So you asked me about the downside to traveling.
Mhm.
So it wasn't a downside for me, but I belong to a lot of nursing boards. So I see the questions that come up and I see, the things that spur people to ask these questions. With nursing, with travel nursing, there's no certainty. You can sign up for this wonderful contract in this awesome place or for this awesome rate, and then it can be canceled before you show up. You could work a week and be canceled. Just because you're getting this contract based on a need, and if the need changes, then unfortunately, the hospital is not obligated to pay you past what you've worked. So if that type of uncertainty really worries you, then travel nursing might not be for you. In my experience, I've had enough money saved that it's not an issue if I were to be canceled. But with what's going on in nursing right now, I have not been canceled. And again, my experience is traveling as an ICU nurse. There's a lot of different specialties within nursing that you can travel under, and some have a higher need than others. Right now, ICU and ER are really doing their thing. Another thing that is kind of a downside to traveling is that you might not be able to stay close to home. So if you have a family, a lot of people with families like to travel within, like, locally. And for me, that would be traveling in Florida. Florida is notorious for not having great rates, and their travel contracts aren't that good compared to traveling out of state. So I wouldn't have made as much as I did if I stayed in state. But sometimes, you're away from home for weeks, or maybe you can't even leave. So that would rule out traveling for you altogether. So you might be homesick. That's a downside. Health insurance. I pay for my own health insurance, and it's not even as good of health insurance as it was when I was with a hospital, but it's definitely more expensive. So you're kind of working like you're self-employed, and if you're not disciplined and saving your money, tax situations, and making sure that you're getting what you need as far as retirement and insurance and all the other stuff, traveling might not be for you. So, I mean, it really depends on what you consider to be bad, I guess. I'm very go with the flow, and I analyze situations for worst case scenario before I even begin them. So I haven't had any surprises. But if you don't do your research, then you might have some situations where you have to learn the hard way.
I got you now. To save people from having disappointments, you did mention like you on several nursing boards and stuff. Can you shout out the nursing boards so that if somebody was interested in traveling, they can reach out and sign up for those nursing boards?
So I'm trying to look it up now. The ones that I've had the most success with in finding new jobs and whatnot are on Facebook. And a lot of people, they say, I don't use Facebook or whatever the case may be. But I would highly suggest creating a Facebook account, if nothing else, to be able to have access to these message boards. I'm trying to look for the name of them. So one of the ones that I belong to is ICU Traveler Nurses and Crisis Rates. There's one that is really popular. They don't always have just job posts, but it's called Traveling Nurse Jobs, 5,000 a week and up. And then another one is Travel Nurses, the 1,800 plus gross. Is kind of long. So the 1,800 plus gross per week, 50 plus per hour travel nursing job board. But if you didn't have a chance to write all of that down, if you just go on to Facebook and you just type in travel nurse, you'll see a lot of groups, and they by default suggest the most popular ones. And you just, join the group, and then the posts start rolling in, and then you'll get to see different job posts from different recruiters there.
All right. So all of that is great, valuable information. We're gonna try to go ahead and slowly get you on out of here.
Okay.
I said it was gonna be about an hour. We bumping up to an hour now. So to be honest with you, you got a lot of information. I would like for you to share what college you will be attending for your CRNA.
So I have made the decision that I'm not going to release the name, and I'll tell you why. Because you know how people can be these days. I don't want my opinions and my actions to reflect the opinions of my school. That's
Okay.
my legal disclaimer. But I will say that I will probably release it after my program, but I am going to a school in Miami.
All right, that's fine. All right, so for those that's wanting to get into nursing, can you give them some advice?
Oh, it really depends on where they are in the process. But like we said before, you have to have something other than these, high dollar contracts and dollar signs in your eyes to be successful, because once you're a nurse, the things that you see and the things that you go to, like, you take that with you through life.
I
Okay.
agree.
So there has to be something that you want to bring into nursing. Other than that, just know, I mean, it goes without saying, but truly, like, I feel like when I listen to my friends in other industries complain about stress, it's nothing compared to the stress of dealing with someone's life.
Come on.
So, you have to kind of just know you're not going to have a good day every day. And you have to have a plan to kind of cope with that. Take care of yourself first from the beginning to the end, because if you aren't taking care of yourself, you can't take care of anyone else. And, just keep pushing. I can't like emphasize that enough. There are going to be difficult times, whether or not you're in school or, when you're brand new on your unit and you don't know everything, and you just keep pushing, because it does get better.
All right, so we're gonna go ahead and try to get you on out of here, but I do like to ask some more personal questions at the end so that
Okay.
people can get a chance to know you.
Okay.
When you drive it in the road, you got to go to the ICU floor. Who you bumping in your radio on your radio?
Right now I've got a little J. Cole.
J. Cole? Oh, okay. You more than
I got a little bit of J. Cole, and then I've got some. I'm trying to think of what his name is, so I just started listening to him.
Kodak Black.
Well, I've got some Kodak Black too. See, I listen to Pandora, so I have a mix of things. I don't listen to like one thing in particular, even though I am a big Kanye West fan. But I'm trying to get.
Hold on, you can't say Kanye and not speak on that last album. What you talking about the last album?
You talking about his Donda?
Yeah, I want to.
I mean, I'm not one of those people who heavily critiques it. Like, I'm not looking for like a masterful piece of work. I'm just listening for the beats, and I hear what he has to say. But I mean, if it doesn't resonate with me, then I just move on to the next song. So there's songs on there that I really like. I'm trying to look. Hurricane was Praise God is one. Hurricane's another. You asked me, Don Toliver is another person that I'm listening to right now. I don't know if y'all are familiar with them. And then let's see, there's Huncho Jack and Travis Scott and Quavo song that I just found.
Okay. All right then. So let's go ahead and head to the next question. What's some activities that you do for fun during COVID, especially in Florida? Hold on. You say you in Orlando, right?
Yeah.
You into football?
No, I like watching sports in person, but my attention span will not allow me to watch it on TV. Plus, it's very stressful when I have watched it. I have enough stress in my life. I don't need to watch it on TV for fun.
Oh, okay. I was just saying because I'm a University of Florida fan. I got some football season tickets. We have.
I'm always down for a good time in person. I just don't follow anybody.
Oh, no problem. Hey, we'll talk off camera. All right. So, what's some fun things that you do during COVID since this pandemic started?
Well, I mean, I feel like I've been working nonstop since the pandemic started. So, like, for fun, I'm not even sure what that is. I mean, since I've gotten vaccinated and all that other stuff, I have opened up a little bit more. So, a lot of outdoor events. We have like food truck things here. Like I said, I love food. And then I'm trying to think. I try not to go places where there's a lot of people. I've started traveling more now, though. So, I will get on a plane and I will go other places, but I just don't get into crowded areas just yet.
All right, all right. Now, see, I like I said, I'm a Florida Gators football season ticket holder, so I fly down to Orlando.
Uh-huh.
Give me one little restaurant or bar I need to go to.
My favorite restaurant right now is probably Rustique, and that's Rusteak. But there's so many good places to eat around here. And then for decent prices and a chill vibe, I would say the Guest House is one. Tori Tori is another bar that I like to go to, but it's upscale. It's like Asian fusion. So they're owned by another restaurant and they don't want to be known for their food, but that's why I go. And their drinks are good.
Okay, all right, all right. Thank you for that. How can I put this? When I go to Orlando, I go with my homeboys. Hey, we get into silly things. If I was to go to a club or something, a strip club, you got in. What's popping down now?
All right. So strip club wise, I would say it's probably still Cleo's. Cleo's is, more ethnic, I'll say.
Okay.
Um,
Oh, God. All right.
we'll go with that. And then just for another vibe, but smaller, probably not as popular to like tourists, but better quality than a lot of the ones that I've seen around here is Dancers Royale. Very small. They have very low turnover with their dancers, and their dancers are pretty. And then there's Rachel's. Rachel's is known for their food and their steak and all the other stuff. And then, I guess the one by the airport, though. Don't go to the one in Altamont.
Okay. Okay.
And
Hey.
clubs. Let's see. They kind of changed. I think we're just back. I think we're just getting back to the club scene after COVID, but
Right.
they do more like special nights than every night at a certain club. So honestly, I wouldn't even be able to tell you because things have changed so much. I don't spend a lot of time in clubs these days. I don't get the opportunity.
Hey, I understand you're a single mom. I understand completely. But hey, I got a Orlando person from Orlando on the call. So I got to ask, you know. So yes, if you had to tell your younger self one thing, what would you tell your younger self?
That rainy days don't last forever.
Mm, rain day, can you stand the rain? All right. All right. Now I'm gonna be honest with you. I ain't gonna say it. That's all right.
What? Now we're interested.
Oh yeah, yeah. Yeah. Relationship wise, what would you tell your younger self?
And it's cliche, but actions speak louder than words. I used to do a lot of dating for potential and not paying attention to what the person was actually doing. It's easy to say things, but it's not as easy to be consistent with your actions. So I would just say pay attention more to that.
I got you. I'm gonna be honest with you. I can't pay no bills with potential. So I don't hey,
I know
potential.
that's right.
Hey, I'm gonna be on. Hey, we grown over here. I can't. Hey, the power bill ain't gonna get paid off of potential.
Exactly.
The mortgage and the rent ain't gonna get paid off potential. I
Hmm.
am not potential. Hey, holler at me when you're done.
Right, right.
I ain't trying to be funny, but hey, I'm sorry. I got too many real life issues over here.
Exactly.
But
And that's another thing. Don't like if we're not going to be building something. I mean, we all like what we want in that particular time. Sometimes we just want to have fun. But I mean, when you get to the point where when you're looking for someone to build with, like if you're trying to go somewhere in life, you need to pick your partner according to that. You don't want somebody that you got to like babysit and like, drag along with you. Going back to what we were saying earlier in the podcast, you got to drop that dead weight. You got to pick your partner accordingly too.
hey, I'm gonna be honest with you. I'm I don't know if I'm qualified. I'm not qualified to speak. Um, I think a lot of black women they do hang on to men for various reasons,
Mm-hmm.
and they probably shouldn't do it if they got a feeling that it's not going to
I
stay.
think I think that women in general do that, not just black women.
I understand, but I'm gonna be honest with you. I ride with the sisters, so that's all I speak on. So I'm just talking from being a black male, and I work with. I'm a nurse, so I work with a lot of women,
Yeah.
black, white, mostly white, because I'm in the operating room. Keep on.
Right.
So when I do see a black woman, and we get to intertwine and talking and stuff like that, they have some situation. I'm like, man, like, uh-uh, but keep going.
So if you try to wrap things up, I don't think this is the subject you want to go
Hey,
down.
hey, hold on. Time out, Miss K. I'm gonna have a dating as a nurse podcast.
There you go.
Not a podcast, but an episode coming up. And so, say your opinions, and we're gonna all get together. We're gonna drink us some wine or whatever, have us a shot or whatever you like to drink, and we're gonna discuss some things. And
There you go. So I can tell you what it's like dating a night shift ICU nurse. But what I was going to say for Black women basically kind of enduring more than we probably should, I think that comes from the mentality that I mean, I don't know about everybody, and I can't even say that I was taught this growing up, but there was definitely that mentality that, to be ride or die, you need to prove that you will go through hell with your partner to show that you're worthy. So women are used to that kind of thing, and men want to test you. So that's where we, get arrive at that whole situation where you probably shouldn't have to deal with all of that to find your partner.
gotcha. Hey, we're gonna try to go ahead and pivot on out of here. But name one nurse that should be on my show, and if you name them, you got to help me get them.
um, I'll say Randy CRNA. I think that he would be very entertaining, but he's got that, that I'm gonna keep it real with you flavor, but he's got a wealth of knowledge, and I think that your audience would benefit from hearing from him. So I will send him a message and put you all together.
All right, but hey, I surely appreciate it. I'm gonna go ahead. You know what? I'm gonna go ahead and work on this. Dating as a nurse situation, because all of the women that I mentioned it to, they would love to share their experience. So today I'm out, and I'm going to get that going so we can head in the right direction and allow the fellas to be educated. The ones that do tune in to my show, allow them to be educated as to what some of the women may be looking for
Right.
when it comes to the dating game. But yes, Miss K, would you like to share with people your social media handles so they can reach out to you?
Oh, for sure. So you probably will have to write this down. But it's Kaylana Reese, and that's KAYLANAREESE. That's my main account. And then you can also find me on YouTube if you just search Nurse Kaylana, and then you'll see different videos I put out for new nurses or nurses who are looking to get into CRNA school. I'm going to document my, journey as a CRNA student or SRNA. And I just try to put out videos that, can help the nursing student or even those who are thinking about becoming nurses.
All right. Hey, we're gonna go ahead and try to wrap it up. Hey fellas, hey, I'm gonna go ahead and tell y'all please tune in. Go to her social media account. You will find some pictures easy on the ass. So and join follow this young lady. To the latest, this is I'm gonna be honest with you. I wanted to try to keep it to about 30 minutes, but this young lady, she had a wealth of knowledge that I feel like y'all will appreciate. So I want to thank you for your time, Miss Kate, and
Thank you for having me.
That's right. That's right. And to everybody tuning in, I want you to share this episode with your friends and family. And hey, we've been locked into another episode of Understanding the Nursing Game podcast.